morning. My name is Nabil AL-Awawdeh. I'm graduate instructor and research assistant in the University of Missouri, Columbia. I would like to present to you one of the projects we did work on, and we did start in 2009 till now. That project did start in the University of Potsdam in Germany, and it's like 25 minutes from Berlin. And I did stay there till 2011, and then I moved here to the United States, and we did work on the project, the same project, from 2011 till now. So the main goal of the project is to establish self-correcting mechanism in education. This mechanism is to improve reading a language taking online. So we are talking about online courses. Our old student results before performing the mechanism, as you see, for the listening, writing, and speaking skills, the results were average. So the grades are on average scale. But if you have a look at the reading, the results are too low comparing with the other three skills. So we tried to establish a mechanism to improve this skill. And what we did as a teacher, one of our goals is for every student to read and comprehend at or above grade level. We want students to take ownership of their reading, monitoring themselves while they are reading, and self-correcting when they need to. So the main question is, what is self-correcting mechanism? The self-correcting mechanism is a guided mechanism aims to help students to correct themselves through building reading strategies to improve their reading. So learners correct themselves instead of teacher doing it. Donnerist says, in fact, most readers regress to correct percentage of their errors. Self-correction occurs when the reader, aware that he has made an oral reading error, moves his eyes back over previously read material and attempts to read the text correctly. He is either successful producing the expected response when he goes back, or unsuccessful producing an alternate response. So since many were unsuccessful at the beginning in Potsdam, so we established this mechanism. In reading, the ability of self-monitor enables students to select and use strategies to improve comprehension. Readers who self-monitor know when their reading makes sense and when it does not. If comprehension is blocked, they know what strategies to use to repair it. Self-monitoring is a significant component of comprehension. Comprehension monitoring structure teaches students to be aware of what they do understand, identify what they do not understand, use appropriate strategies to resolve problems in comprehension. Now, another question is why we use such mechanism. It's easy to say, because students learn from their mistakes. So, Donnerist says that research shows that self-correction is a positive indicator that reader is comprehending. The correction then should not be regarded as an error. So we don't count the errors so badly, but rather as evidence of the reader's successful interaction with the text. Self-correction helps students to reflect on their own language use and helps them to be more critical on their production. Now, the mechanism itself. It is a guided reading and running a record, so they record themselves. Teachers can involve learners in self-correction to different degrees by giving learners more or less guidance, so they do have instructions. As to the location and the nature of their errors, more explanation on their errors, and examples of good use of language to compare their own reading. Here on the screen is one of the examples that we can refer to, how the students can do for their reading. One strategy is to have students record themselves reading into a computer or tablet, or nowadays we can talk about cell phones. Students have a passage in front of them that is at their reading level, and that's very important. It should be at their reading level. They record themselves and go back and listen to their reading, marking any errors on this paper. As you see, they can mark any errors on this paper. So if students are able, I have them mark what they said. They can mark the whole thing they said. They record the number of errors that they have made and then repeat the process again. Play back the record, pause every time they hear a mistake. Talk about what they said and how it could be improved. Afterwards, play again and point out any significant errors that they missed and work on correcting the language together. This is an example. I have developed several techniques that encourage self-check, providing the necessary tools for self-editing and proofreading, and develop critical thinking and independence. The positive side effect of this approach is that evaluation gradually becomes an internal than rather external from the teacher process, shifting the focus from grades to self-check and dimensioning the tension caused by grades. So now, how we perform these strategies? First of all, we need to know what is a mistake, how we define the mistake. A mistake for us is a misuse of rule or rules that has or have already been studied and exercised. A mistake is not wrong use of rule or vocabulary that have not been yet studied in class. So it's always good idea to note down the errors as you hear them. And we did see that in the previous screen, how they note them down. And it's recommended that they put that in logical order. So when noting down errors during an activity, group these mistakes by type by putting them under main categories, like subject, verb, or object. When you come to correct them afterward, you can pick up and choose those that are most frequent, important, and also do so in a logical order. So you can take the verbs that you did mistake in and go ahead and review it, and so on for other categories. It's much easier and simpler for students to follow if you correct their errors in their categories. And for that, we do encourage using colorful marker and special editing signs. And you can have a look at the board. This is some of the mistakes that the student did. So they can just underline the error or just mark it somehow. This is one of the signs that we can use. And then define what type of error, what category of error is that. And then correct it and then go back to it. So we recommend to follow some steps to do the correction. So for recording themselves, we recommend them to read aloud. Reading aloud provides a demonstration of studying within a text and predicting or searching for mistakes to self-correct. Stop and talk about why you have to look for more information. Like if the mistakes did not make sense, or if the phrases are not clear, or so on. Reading aloud serve in. First of all, it trains them to listen to themselves. Too many students rush through reading without even taking a few seconds to gather their thoughts. It helps them taking responsibility for their learning. The teacher is not there to correct them all the time. And the teacher cannot correct every single mistake. It helps students gain a better awareness of the language. They are not saying things in a language they are really getting it. It also boosts confidence. When a teacher corrects a student, this mistake is singled out. The more a teacher corrects someone, the more aware they are of their mistakes. Their confidence but suffered. But by self-correcting, the student is taking charge. Corrections are less easier this time. It also allows students to gauge their own problems area, and we did see that on the screen, how they can identify their own problems, where it is. Here it could say subject, verb, and object, which can conclude articles, nouns, and etc. It allows the student to gauge their own problem areas. Some might come to realize that they always make verb tense mistakes, as we did see here. And others might see they need to improve their vocabulary and word choice. We also recommend that you do ask the students to periodically stop while they read to let the material sink in and think about what they just said. So think deeply, make it slowly. Perhaps it brings up some certain memories or so and reminds them of something they like or dislike, or something that they did study in the classroom or so, or online. Tell students to pause and ask themselves whether or not they understand what they are reading. If not, go ahead, read again and make it slowly. So the second step is to find out the mistakes and note them down, as we did see here. The third step is to reread aloud again. So rereading aloud again, make it easier and slowly. Then the final step is to record again. And in the final error check, highlight mistakes, provide suggestions, and create a list of repeating mistakes. We give the students more exercises to practice specific points that they have probably misunderstood. If grading necessary, so if the class is graded or what they are doing, the evaluation is graded, suggest some extra credit points for completing the correction assignment, so to encourage them. Use the above steps, what we just mentioned, the 4 steps, always to improve the students' overall performance, raises their self-confidence, and develop their reasoning skills. Now, as you see on the board, this is the new results, and those are measured in 2016. So if you have a look at the reading, the first is we went from C and D to B, or B minus, to B and B minus, which is very good, as you see. So many students have shown improvement in the number of words they can read a minute. But of course there are still some other students that they are making the same mistakes, and we need to draw their attention to what they are reading and what they are doing, what kind of mistakes they are doing. Our goal here is to get students to pay more attention to what they are reading and to read accurately the first time. The more attention we can draw to student misread, and the more we can get students to see that they are not looking at the entire word, the fewer mistakes they would make and the better readers they will become. So if you look at this chart, you will see what success they did, and now let's compare both charts. So this is what we did in 2010 and the evaluation we did in 2010 and 2011. Have a look at the reading skills. From 65.72, 62.71 to 73.83, 74.84. So there is improvement, and at least they jumped one whole grade. But also, what we did conclude, the writing performance, the writing skill did also improve. Just go ahead and look at what we did in 2010 to 2011, from 79.86, 77.83 to 82, 89, and 81, 88, and some students they get almost over 95 points. So, because normally when we read, we do imitate people while writing. So this is why we did improve both of them. So we think that our project did succeed, and we think that it's very important to use such strategies and such steps, and we do have too many classes here online, and we are getting better results from students by just making them following these strategies. Definitely there are some students, they will not follow that, but this is, you always have students who will pass with good grades, and you always have students who will not pass or will fail. So this is my name and this is my email. If you have any question, you can contact me. Thank you very much. I can answer any question if you have any questions, and I look forward to publish my paper and you can get more details. Thank you very much.